Hugs and tears of joy at Hopkins International Airport tonight. Volunteers Aaron Phillips and Paula Shaw finally back home after being at the airport in Brussels when two explosions claimed at least 30 lives on Tuesday.
An announcement went on that wasn't very clear that just said, evacuate, evacuate.
Phillips took this video on his smartphone as hundreds of employees and travelers were ordered to leave the Brussels airport.
Windows blown out, doors just falling out and debris everywhere. It really reined in the gravity of the situation.
Phillips and Shaw were on their way back to Northeast Ohio after volunteering at a hospital and a school in Ganta, Liberia, West Africa, through the Nehemiah Mission and the East Ohio Conference of the United Methodist Church. Shaw says the people of Brussels reached out to help stunned travelers. This woman on the left, a Brussels nurse, spent her entire day getting Phillips and Shaw transportation and a place to stay until they could fly out of Amsterdam.
A total stranger. She saw the 10 of us standing on the street trying to get a cab, and you couldn't get a cab, and so she said, I will take you where you want to go.
And Phillips says he had plenty of time on the flight home to reflect and pray for those who lost their lives and their families.
I learned so much about the way that God moves, and I'm thankful. What I learned from them is I'm thankful just to wake up and have breath in my body, to work yet another day.
We'll probably smell you before we'll see you.
Do you?
No, actually, you're doing pretty good when I got back.
We're not answering any questions that are self-incriminating. I told you we were violating rules, but the contract was over by then.
Okay, I'll just check.